The Honourable Turia.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker, tēnā tātou katoa. Well, this is a significant day for the Māori Party as we consider the opportunities for tangata whenua that emerge from this budget. None of us are under any illusion that the economic and fiscal outlook would sustain a generous spending program to meet every need. All of the forecasts warn us that we are heading into a deeper and more prolonged slowdown, with unemployment likely to peak in the middle of next year. The reality of recession is felt particularly by Māori whānau, and frankly I mihi to their resilience, their ability to be collective and the way in which they support each other. In its most basic form, while the Māori participation rate increased in the last year, the rise in employment was similar to the overall employment growth, and we're talking between 5 and 7% unemployment, But for unemployment, the contrast is stark. We are currently sitting on unemployment rates for Māori of 9.2%, which is over twice the annual rate for all persons of 4.5%. And we're particularly alert to the needs of our young Māori people, aged between 18 and 24 years, a group that has suffered disproportionately and consistently, not just this year in 2009, but in the 10 years leading up to it. These are grim times, and we must prepare for the certainty that pressure on households will intensify. We are talking about families who have already had to adjust to a 70% increase in electricity costs over the last 10 years, and even more staggering, 91% increase in petrol costs. This, then, was the setting into which the Māori Party sought to negotiate to support our people to support themselves. Our motivation was clear. We wanted to soften the hard edges of recession for Māori to protect those who would be most vulnerable to the weakness of the global market. But we wanted to also position our strategy around the wider economic development to prepare the ground for whānau to be positioned to be part of the acceleration once the economy recovers. Mr Speaker, when our kaikaranga prepare themselves to pōhuri, they will stand strong, summoning all their wits about them for solemn responsibility of their role. Me hāngai tō te tiro ki te mahi kei whati. Keep your focus firmly fixed on the job in case you may break or become diverted from the task. This is how we have approached 2009. We were determined to hold the line, to stay strongly attuned to the hopes and aspirations of our people to do for themselves. And so we are proud that we have succeeded in safeguarding some important policies and programs, while at the same time achieving gains which will help to lay a strong foundation for the times to come. This budget is a careful budget. For the Māori Party, protecting the vulnerable was an important priority in our negotiations. In the area of social services, we sought to ensure that the people would benefit from accessing their full and correct entitlements, while at the same time recognising our collective responsibility to keep the economy moving, to keep people in jobs and to create opportunities to generate hope. We welcome the allocation of up to $40 million for community responses to the recession. In our journeys across Aotearoa, we come across amazing stories of our everyday entrepreneurs who are designing solutions for their own local issues. The Community Response Fund is an opportunity to support the people to devise their own answers to the needs that will inevitably flow as a result of the economic downturn. The investment in infrastructure is another open door for our people. The $7.5 billion is a create scheme on a massive scale, a scheme which will result in the construction of major projects and the longer terms will contribute to the lifting of economic growth. Our approach to Budget 2009 was also developed around holding the line on whānau ora. There is nothing of more importance in the thinking of than thinking of the families who inspire us to build this nation in a way that takes their well-being into account. We celebrate the healthy homes approach that has been achieved. We're delighted that the Warm Homes Standards has been demonstrated with a $323 million allocated to insulate and heat homes built before 2000, because we will ensure that our people benefit from that. And we are proud of the commitments made in allocating $12 million over the next 2 years for the rural housing program, as well as the investment opportunities signalled in the Housing Innovation Fund, 2 areas that Labour failed our people miserably in. I met this morning with a small but devoted group of women who have pioneered the Ngaitai housing project alongside of the Turia Credit Union. Their approach was purely and simply that by working together and sharing the load, they were able to build their homes one whānau at a time. 21 homes later, they are now able to claim not only shelter for their community, but they are able to share success stories of 18 of their families enjoying full-time employment and pathway to further education. That's a real celebration. This, Mr. Speaker, is exactly what we mean by self-determination, by creating the destiny that we aspire towards. So within this budget, we are also really pleased that almost $70 million has enabled our core reo and play centres to benefit from the expansion of the 20 hours free early childhood education initiative. Our policy priority has always been to boost participation in early childhood education for Māori who have traditionally low participation rates. And so this is a big gain for us. And then we have the $20 million to extend the kōtaranga program in schools to ensure that teachers are equipped with the skills and strategies to ensure Māori reach their full potential. Holding the line is also about creating the best economic framework to plan for Māori prosperity across cultural and tribal assets. We are really pleased with additional $4.5 million, which will enable whānau Māori every opportunity to access te reo Māori in their own homes. And we are glad that there is Turia put aside to support iwi radio in meeting their operational costs. This budget brings with it some $22 million devoted to speed up the process and reduce the time it takes to settle treaty claims. We know that streamlining the process is a clear mechanism to achieve the enduring reconciliation between iwi, hapu and the Crown that our tupuna believed was possible when they signed the Treaty of Waitangi. We acknowledge the close working relationship we have enjoyed with the Minister for Treaty Settlements, and we are especially positive about the opportunities for involving independent facilitators and the support for promoting chief-to-chief negotiations. Both policies which we brought into the relationship with the National Party. That relationship has been one which has been the road least travelled, but a road nevertheless, thank you, but a road nevertheless in which we have been able to walk together in a way which has respected the concept of a mana enhanced relationship. We have always maintained that every issue is a Māori issue. We know that if the budget doesn't work for Māori, then that isn't a good budget for New Zealand. And conversely, initiatives that may appear to promote tangata whenua interests are also about promoting the unique and distinctive identity of Aotearoa. And so in this 2009 budget, we can see that the influence of the Māori Party right across government, including gains achieved in our ministerial positions. The Māori Affairs appropriation has managed to survive largely intact, despite the rigours of close scrutiny for savings. In my portfolios, I am so pleased that more than $11 million has been set aside to support those unsung heroes in our community the informal carers, the people who support an ill, disabled or frail aged family member. And I am proud too of the support that this will enable stronger engagement amongst local communities. This is what it's all about. He tangata, he tangata, he tangata.
I call the Mr.